Hi everyone, it's Chris and welcome to my channel, The Vinyl Orchard. Thank you for popping by today. Today I'm going to continue with my series I call Favourite 5, where I share my favourite 5 albums and tracks and songs by any one band or artist. Today that choice is Styx, one of the most polarising yet undeniably successful American rock bands. From fairly kind of progressive beginnings on a small label called, I think, Wooden Nickel, I think it was called, to becoming this kind of arena-filling pop rock band with its big anthems and kind of ballads along the way. We all remember Babe, but there's a lot more to this band than Babe, I'm telling you. So I've got 5 albums and 5 songs for you today. So at number 5, from 1976, is Crystal Ball. Now, when a guitarist called John Kurelewski left the band, in came a guy called Tommy Shaw, and his presence really reshaped the whole kind of sound and identity of Styx. And Crystal Ball, the title track, was his first contribution, a real statement of intent, melodic, thoughtful song built around, his voice and his guitar playing, a real showcase for his songwriting and his voice, and a great song. The whole album, though, is reasonably uneven, because what we've got now is we've got 3 people, James Young and Dennis DeYoung and Tommy Shaw, all vying for a piece of the action as a vocalist and a musician. But Mademoiselle, Ballerina, Crystal Ball, all great songs, and that's my number 5. At number 4 is Pieces of 8 from 1978. Now here Tommy Shaw really pushes the band towards a much more straight ahead rock sound with things like Blue Collar Man, my first ever 12-inch single, Renegade, which is one of the most enduring kind of Styx songs, I think. But at the same time, we've got Dennis DeYoung retaining his kind of theatrical vision for the band with the title track and Queen of Spades, and still therefore he's kept that kind of progressive kind of edge, if you like, to the band. But this album really kind of has a nice balance, I think, between Tommy Shaw bringing a kind of an energetic kind of rock sound to it, and James Young with a more gritty sound, and Dennis DeYoung maintaining that kind of theatrical, grandiose feel to everything that he did do. But a good album, and that's at number 4. At number 3 is this album from 81. This is Paradise Theatre. I love this album, actually, and although it's outside of the 70s, it feels like the end of a kind of an era, I think, really. It's a concept album, and it's a concept album about the rise and the fall of an American theatre. It's a laser etched disc, actually, this one. I think it's one of the first ones to be produced like that. It's very, very polished, it's very theatrical, and it was highly successful. The song Best of Times was a single. I think this was also laser etched. I think that was quite a big hit in the States. And a song called Too Much Time on My Hands also. But Rockin' the Paradise, Snowblind, some really good songs on here. And again, it balances Dennis DeYoung kind of theatrical vision with Tommy Shaw's pop rock sensibility, and stands as probably the last album that the kind of unified approach to creating an album before creative tensions, fractured the band and went their different ways. But a really good album, and that's at number 3. At number 2, the first album I bought by Styx, Equinox from 1975. The first album on A&M Records, so they came from Wooden Nickel, I think it was called, to A&M, and this is a dramatic leap both in terms of sound and vision, bigger budget, stronger production, and this is a band which finally achieves a kind of a balance between the theatrical instincts of Dennis DeYoung and the kind of experimental edge of John Kurelewski, which this was his, I think, the last album he made with them, and James Young, more hard rock edge. It's a great album. Lorelei was, I think, a single for them in the States, but Light Up, great opener. Midnight Ride's fantastic. Born for Adventure is brilliant. Sweet Madam Blue, this ambitious cinematic closer, fantastic. More about that in a moment. And then my favourite album by them is from 1977, and it's The Grand Illusion. This is their 7th album, and it was released on the 7th of the 7th, 77. How cute is that? This is a watershed moment, I think, for the band. It's their kind of breakthrough. Big anthems, theatrical ballads, still got proggy touches, but it's got massive hooks. Tremendous album, the classic lineup of the band without a doubt. But what we've got here is Styx really crystallizing their sound. It's progressive enough to satisfy and retain a kind of a rock audience, but it's also accessible enough for, you know, mass radio airplay, I think. There's just some brilliant songs on here. Possibly the iconic centerpiece of this album is the song Come Sail Away, which starts as a piano ballad before transforming into this big, beautiful, soaring rock anthem. It is a fantastic song, and I think the centerpiece of that. But the songs that surround it, there are 7 other songs, all good. You know, Miss America's good. The closing song, Grand Finale, although it's quite short, is great. The Grand Illusion is good. Fooling Yourself, Superstars is really good. Really, really good album. So lots of different kind of sounds and textures to this album. A real good bit of variety. Man in the Wilderness and Castle Walls are both fantastic songs. And they're often go under the radar, I think, but a tremendous album. So commercially and artistically, I think this is absolutely where the band really, you know, click. Just one nod to one album, which I think came out during COVID, possibly in 2020. It's called Crash of the Crown, and it's just full of kind of hooks and harmonies. It's a really good album. So I don't have it. It's would be, you know, digital download or CD. It's not on vinyl, but yeah, good album. Okay, let's think about 5 songs. So at number 5 is the closing song from Crystal Ball from 76. It's called Clair de Lune, Ballerina. The closing song, absolutely amazing closing song. Now, I think it's Debussy, the Clair de Lune part. I think it's Debussy, and Dennis DeYoung kind of adapts that at the start, and then it transitions into Ballerina, which is this kind of lush, theatrical, kind of over the top closing song. It's very, very strong and very dramatic, but it lets the band show off their musicianship, and it also closes the album, you know, not with just another song. It gives it a real sense of ending because it is so grandiose and so kind of over the top. It's fantastic. I think what it does do is it showcases Dennis DeYoung, his vocal delivery, his songwriting. It's fantastic. Is it pretentious? Absolutely is, but I love it for it, and I love the la 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 chorus. It's catchy as hell, and it's brilliant, and that's my whatever that is 5th favourite. Yeah, 5th favourite song. Okay, at number 4. Oh, same album, I think. Crystal Ball, 76, title track from here. This is, as I said earlier, it's the first album to feature Tommy Shaw, and his arrival changed the band's trajectory. And what he brought to the band was a song called Crystal Ball. It's the standout song on here. It's his standout contribution almost of any songs he did for Styx. It's the song that got him the gig. As soon as the band heard that song, he was in the band. And it begins with this kind of gentle acoustic guitar, and then we've got from Dennis DeYoung these kind of layered synth textures come in, and then the Panozzo brothers, I can't remember their names, one's called Chuck, I think. Then we've got, you know, they come in with this kind of steady rhythm section part, and then it goes full on electric, and it gives the song a real kind of swirling grandeur. It's wonderful. It's a song which is about searching for meaning and clarity in an ever confusing world. It's, you know, Tommy Shaw's not as operatic and as dramatic and as theatrical as James DeYoung. He's probably not as gritty as James Young, but he's great nonetheless. And Crystal Ball is a fantastic song. And that's at number 4. At number 3 is Man in the Wilderness from 1977's Grand Illusion, another Tommy Shaw song, and I think possibly his best of everything he's contributed to Styx. This is one of his most powerful and personal contributions to their entire back catalogue, and it often flies under the radar. It's a second song on side 2, and it's often overshadowed by Come Sail Away and Miss America and all the other hits that they've had. It starts with this kind of lovely guitar line which really sets the tone perfectly for themes of isolation and searching. It's a slow building piece that moves from kind of a brooding introduction into this stormy full-on band crescendo. Again, the rhythm section, the Panozzo brothers, I'll find their names, Chuck and John Panozzo, they give the song real weight. But it's not overblown, it's not theatrical, it's not kitsch. It's just a good, heartfelt rock song about being lost in the wilderness and lost in the world, and a fantastic song, and that's my number 3. At number 2, it's from this album, isn't it? Number 2 is Come Sail Away, the centerpiece, I think, of this album. If you were to say, you know, what's the definitive Styx song, possibly it's Come Sail Away. It's their signature track, and for good reason. You know, if there's just one song that defines the band, it's probably this one. It is heartfelt, but it's also grand and theatrical and a little bit over the top, but in the best possible way. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous song. I think it closes out. Yeah, it closes out side 1. It starts with Dennis DeYoung, kind of delicate piano and vocal, as lots of Styx songs do, and then it builds. And so about halfway through, the band kind of shifts gear. Synthesizers are layered in, electric guitars explode into it, and it turns the track into this driving, ever so slightly kind of prog-tinged rock anthem. Wonderful stuff. The closing sections of the song, where Dennis DeYoung's voice kind of cuts through the kind of the synth-driven crescendo, I think is some of the finest work that he's ever done. It's just a brilliant, it's a fantastic song. It's not just, for me, it's not just a Styx classic. I think it's one of the great arena rock epics of the 1970s, and it's my number 2. So what is my number 1? Well, my number 1 is on the first album I ever bought by Styx, and it's the closing song from Equinox from 1975, Sweet Madam Blue. It's just brilliant. Now, by 1975, Styx had released, 4 albums on Wooden Nickel Records. I think they've had some success, certainly through a song called Lady. But this was a real turning point for them. It was their first record on A&M, their last with their original guitarist John Kolewski, and before Tommy Shaw joined. And the centerpiece of this album is Sweet Madam Blue, which is I think it's a Dennis DeYoung composition, but I think it certainly helps Styx kind of define their kind of blend, if you like, of prog ambition but arena rock sensibility and accessibility. The word sweet in the title is deliberate, because it's not just a song, it's a multi-part piece. It starts with this kind of, there is a song before it called Prelude 12, which kind of merges slightly into it, but the actual song Sweet Madam Blue starts with this kind of ballad-like opening that has Dennis DeYoung once again singing softly over piano and synthesizers. And then you've got this kind of build-up, a kind of a transition kind of section where the instrumentation kind of grows and builds, harmonized guitar lines, atmospheric keyboards. It shifts from a ballad to a kind of, a rock, really good rock song. And the hard rock section with the twin guitar of Kolewski and James Young. And that's a real balance between, as I said, this kind of proggy kind of approach they had, but also a hard rock one as well, and it absolutely in full flow. And then right at the end, kind of like as a, if you like, a bookend, is as the energy fades away, we've got this kind of reflective tone at the end, which, as I said, bookends the song in the same way that the opening kind of gives it a sense of grandeur. The end part also has that sense of grandeur. I think Sweet Madam Blue is Styx at their best. It is grand, it's ambitious, but it's melodic and it's dramatic, and it's my number 1. So there you go. Tell me what you think of my choices of album and songs. You might not like this band, but you might like one or two things by them, I don't know. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and subscribing and everything else. And I'm sure I'll be back sometime soon with another video. Cheers.